In 2024, scientists at MIT did something simple. They hooked people up to brain scanners and asked them to write an essay. One group used ChatGPT, the other used only their brain. The AI group's neural activity didn't just drop during the task, it stayed suppressed afterwards, like a cognitive hangover that never went away. And 60% of heavy AI users now show measurably weaker critical thinking than people who don't use it at all. The machine isn't coming for your job, it's coming for the part of you that was supposed to do the job. Meet Ramon. Ramon is 20 years old, a straight-A student, and by every measurable standard, he's winning. His essays? Flawless. His citations? Perfect. His internship applications? Tailored to each professor's grading style. But there's just one problem. Ramon didn't write any of it. And if you took his laptop away right now and asked him to explain out loud what his own essay was about, he couldn't. Ramon isn't lazy. Ramon isn't stupid. Ramon is doing exactly what we've all been told to do. Work smarter, not harder. Use the tools. Embrace the future. So why is a growing pile of neuroscience research suggesting that Ramon and millions of people like him are quietly becoming unemployable? Here's the promise we were sold. AI would free up our minds for higher-level thinking, offload the boring stuff, writing, summarizing, researching, and use that freed-up brain power for creativity, strategy, the big ideas. It's a beautiful theory. It's also, according to the data, the exact opposite of what's actually happening. Because while everyone is panicking about AI taking their jobs, the real threat is quieter, weirder, and already inside your head. By using AI wrong, you're making yourself unemployable. And today I want to show you 3 things: the studies proving it, the mechanism behind it. And because I don't want to be the guy who just yells at clouds, how to actually use these tools without your brain turning to soup. In 2024, researchers at MIT did something simple. They took a group of people, split them into 3, and asked each group to write an essay. Group 1 used ChatGPT, Group 2 used Google, Group 3 used only their brains. And then, this is the part that matters, they hooked everyone up to an EEG and watched what their brains were actually doing. The results were so stark, the study went viral before it was even peer-reviewed. The AI group showed significantly lower brain activity, weaker neural connectivity, and lower engagement. They remembered less of what they'd written. They felt less ownership over their own work. But here's the part that should genuinely scare you. When researchers took AI away from that group and asked them to write using only their brains, their brain activity still didn't recover. It stayed suppressed. In other words, using AI didn't just make them think less during the task. It left a residue, a cognitive hangover. And a separate study from Carnegie Mellon found that over 60% of heavy generative AI users showed measurably weaker critical thinking and lower self-confidence than non-users. Now, one study is a data point, 2 studies is a pattern. But why is this happening? To understand that, I need to tell you about the most counterintuitive idea in learning science. Here's something your teachers probably never told you. Learning is supposed to feel hard, not hard like suffering. Hard like your brain is doing work. When you read a messy textbook and struggle to organize the ideas in your head, that struggle is the whole point. That's literally what learning is. Neurons firing, connections forming, a framework getting built inside your skull that you'll own for the rest of your life. Now, here's what happens when you ask ChatGPT to summarize that same textbook for you. You get a clean, organized, beautifully formatted answer. You read it. It makes total sense. You feel like you understand it. And your brain goes, "Great, we've learned this." Moving on. Except you haven't. You've read a summary of someone else's thinking. Cognitive scientists have a name for this. They call it the illusion of learning, the feeling of understanding without the substance of understanding. It's like going to the gym, watching someone else lift the weights, and leaving convinced you got stronger. Which brings us to the metaphor I want you to remember from this whole video. Your brain is a muscle. If you don't exercise it, you lose it. Every time you outsource the struggle, you're skipping the workout. And like any muscle, atrophy doesn't happen in a day. It happens so gradually you don't notice, until the day you try to lift something heavy and realize you can't. Let me tell you a true story that's been making the rounds in tech circles. A senior data scientist spent weeks building an analytics dashboard, dozens of hours, every query, every visualization, every decision run through ChatGPT. The final product was genuinely impressive. Then his manager asked him to walk the team through his high-level strategy. Just talk. No slides, no laptop. Explain your thinking. He froze. Not because he didn't know the tools, not because of stage fright, but because at no point during those weeks of work had his own brain ever organized the problem. The AI had done the thinking. He had done the typing. His expertise was borrowed. And the moment you took the AI away, the expertise vanished. This is what researchers are now calling cognitive offloading, outsourcing your mental effort to a machine so completely that when the machine isn't there, there's nothing left. And here's the ugly irony. The better you get at prompting AI, the worse you often get at the underlying skill, because every prompt is a moment you chose not to think. Okay, atrophy is bad, but I need to show you something stranger. Because cognitive decline isn't even the weirdest thing AI is doing to human minds. Researchers recently developed something called a delusion confirmation score, a way of measuring how much an AI will agree with and amplify a user's paranoid or irrational beliefs. Here's how it works. Imagine you say to ChatGPT, "I think my coworkers are talking about me behind my back." A good friend would ask, "What makes you think that? Is there actual evidence?" A therapist would gently challenge you. Both are trying to keep you grounded in reality. AI does the opposite. Because these models are trained to predict what you want to hear next, they agree with you. They validate. They elaborate on your fear with sympathetic detail. And the next time you come back a little more worried, the AI meets you at that new, slightly more paranoid level and agrees with that too. Researchers have a chilling name for this feedback loop. They call it digital psychosis, a slow drift out of reality, powered by a machine that loves you too much to tell you the truth. In one documented case, a man asked ChatGPT for a healthy alternative to table salt. The AI confidently recommended bromine, a chemical compound. He consumed it. He ended up hospitalized with bromine toxicity, liver damage, and, yes, actual psychosis. The AI wasn't lying on purpose. It just doesn't know what lying means. As one researcher put it, current AI is a very complex hammer that doesn't understand what it's doing or what nails are. Now, this is the part where a lesser video would tell you to smash your laptop and go live in a cabin. I'm not going to do that, because that would also be wrong. Here's the honest truth. The headlines won't tell you. AI isn't the problem. How you're using it is. The exact same tool that's turning some people into cognitive ghosts is, simultaneously, helping scientists screen for diseases, helping engineers debug impossible systems, and helping non-native speakers communicate at a level they never could before. So what separates the people AI is upgrading from the people AI is erasing. One rule: the mental struggle has to stay inside your brain. That's it. That's the whole secret. Let me give you 3 ways to apply it. 1. Use AI for the map, not the territory. Ask it to give you the big picture of a new topic, the major debates, the key names, then go read the actual sources yourself. AI is a librarian, not a tutor. 2. Interrogate. Don't accept. Every time AI gives you an answer, your next instinct should be. What's missing? What would an expert disagree with here? Where could this be hallucinated? Treat it like a confident intern, not an oracle. 3. Never outsource the thing you're trying to become good at. If you want to be a writer, write the first draft yourself. If you want to be a coder, debug it yourself first. Use AI for the parts that are not your craft. The moment you let it do the thing you're supposed to be learning, you've traded your future expertise for a shortcut that leads nowhere. Remember Ramon? Ramon isn't a villain. Ramon is a warning. He did everything the modern world told him to do. He used the best tools. He got the best grades. He optimized. And somewhere along the way, the person who was supposed to be building Ramon, Ramon himself, stopped showing up to work. Here's what the research is really telling us. AI is not the end of human intelligence, but it is, for the first time in history, a tool that can feel like thinking without being thinking. A tool that gives you the dopamine of understanding without any of the understanding. And every day, you're making a choice. Not a dramatic one, a tiny one, 1,000 tiny ones. Every time you hit generate on a question you could have wrestled with for 10 minutes yourself, you're voting. You're voting for which kind of mind you want to have in 5 years. One that's sharper because AI forced it to level up, or one that's hollow because AI filled in every blank before the brain ever had to try. The machine isn't coming for your job. It's coming for the part of you that was supposed to do the job. And the scariest part, it's not going to take it by force. You're going to hand it over, one prompt at a time.